Welcome to my Minecraft live stream.
Welcome to Rockefeller Center Studio 1A. All right, welcome. Big shout out to all our viewers out there. Thanks for joining us. It's always an attitude of gratitude. We love the likes, the comments, the repeat views, sharing with friends and family. We're so grateful. Not easy to do this, especially this week. I got no Forrest. We gave him the week off. Could you believe it? The guy gets some time off. So we love to do and explain cybersecurity quickly, simply, easy to understand. And our show is all about the top lessons learned from the week's cyber news. I'm Heff. I'm your Chris Farley impersonator. I'm your scarf aficionado, whatever you want to call me. Hey, kindly smash the like button. Please comment. Please share. If you like Forrest Soapbox, then subscribe. I'm actually going to try to do my best impersonation of Forrest and do these soapboxes this week. And of course, we do have this really awesome threat briefing email. It's a weekly email. It's all the top links from all the top breaches, the risks, the vulnerabilities, the threat actors in the news. We cover every topic under the sun, all in a very quick, easy to read email. You can subscribe on our website. And we are SecurityMetrics. We do try to help small to medium to large size businesses with cybersecurity. We try to do it very affordable, very high quality services. And if you would like to learn more about us, you can check us out on the website, SecurityMetrics.com, and check this out. Our top stories coming right at you here. It's Cyber Awareness Month, and I'm going to try to do a preview of our Summit 2021, SecurityMetrics Summit 2021. Stick around too. I'm going to take you down the road of the latest phishing lures. And if you have Verizon or T-Mobile, you definitely want to pay attention to this because I'm going to cover these phishing lures that are hitting folks that belong to those services. And then it is the express train for Microsoft's Patch Tuesday. The freight train is rolling into town. We got to talk about 71 patches that came out. And of course, Facebook is having a very bad week. And we got to recap that, right? All that and more here on the SecurityMetrics News. All right, it's that time, folks. It is Cyber Awareness Month, the month of October. Globally, around the world, people celebrate Cyber Awareness Month. It's like Christmas for me. Actually, it's more like Nightmare Before Christmas when you talk about all these threat actors doing bad stuff out there. So we've got a lot of presents installed inside this presentation, inside this conversation with you. So we'll try to cover that here. And then, I really want to kick it off, though. You're talking Cyber Awareness Month, and we have this summit coming up, Summit 2021. You can actually register for free. It's completely free on our website. Some really, really good presentations. Of course, I'm kind of biased, and you probably want to know, like, hey, what presentations should I check out? Well, if it were me, I would check out the stuff featuring Forrest and I. I'm just kidding. If our CEO knew I said that, he'd probably be upset. But he's actually doing, Brad, our Caldwell, is doing a great presentation on our Threat Intelligence Center, which includes our newest products. We're really excited about some of these products, especially the stuff in shopping carts. And I know a lot of people are concerned about their shopping cart experience. If you have a website and you're doing sales online, this is the kind of stuff that we can find, things like MageCart. And we're going to feature that inside of this summit agenda. We also have just a buffet of knowledge. I mean, it's just a pure feast of knowledge, a cornucopia of topics, a little Thanksgiving pun there, folks. We have some of the finest cyber chefs and compliance chefs serving up some really good stuff out there. Everything from scoping, what you need to do when it comes to scoping your environment, how to select a service provider, how to select a third-party vendor that's going to help you secure your environment. There's other topics including ransomware. There is stuff on what to expect when you're expecting to be PCI compliant. Jen Stone, I know a lot of you like Jen Stone. She does some great stuff out there, and she'll be hosting a couple of these agendas for the summit. There's another one on pen testing. So a bunch of topics out there. What I recommend you do in terms of what do I attend? What summit would you get the most value from? Which topics? Probably surgically recommending certain topics for you based upon your needs and your business. That's the best way to approach it. Pick the subjects that are going to give you the most value to secure your environment. So again, that's coming up. It's October 21st. You can register online completely free, and I hope you check it out. And there's some good stuff in there. So All right, now we have some other things to talk about today too. And from a security awareness perspective, you probably want to know the latest phishing lures, the latest phishing emails that are out there. And this is especially true when you talk about cyber awareness and sharing with your coworkers, or your family, or your friends. Hey, did you get this text message? Did you know it's fake? That kind of stuff. So the one that comes to mind that I really want to talk about today is Verizon. There's a phishing email going around. It's actually a SMS text message. And we'll put a screenshot up here what the phone number is. If you get an SMS text message from this telephone number, 562-666-1159, that's 562-666-1159. That phone number could come to you from a hacker. And it's similar to other SMS phishing scams. Specifically, T-Mobile users have also gotten this text. And the text message basically says, Verizon, free message, your September bill is paid, thanks. And it'll insert your name, you the customer, and here's a little gift for you. And then that'll have a link. And of course, the link is linking to malware. So it may be a different phone number. It may not be that number. It could be other numbers. But if you see anything like this, your September bill is paid, your October bill is paid, please be aware of it, folks. It is absolutely not good. Don't click on it. And again, let your coworkers know, let your friends and family know. There's other phishing lures out there, and these are the latest ones. The one that comes to mind that you really want to be aware of as well is it's the Tanglebot phishing lure. This is also a text message luring. You will basically see something to the effect of new regulations about COVID-19 in your region, or you have received an appointment for your third dose. So here's an example of it up on the screen, a screenshot of what the text message looks like. Please tell your friends, family, coworkers, don't click on these types of phishing lures. And again, these are related to Tanglebot. On the flip side is a thing called Flubot, which has other phishing lures. Here's some examples of that. We'll put this up on the screen as well. These phishing lures can be a variety of things around, hey, we have a package pending in your name. Schedule the delivery here. Or DHL has a delivery for you. Manage it here. Click on this link. Your parcel was not delivered. Those kind of links you need to be aware of, folks. Again, share with friends, family, coworkers. Let them know. Don't click on these SMS text phishing lures. And then another one that's going around. This is an email-based phishing campaign. I know a lot of people love LinkedIn. They use LinkedIn. LinkedIn's been hit a lot lately. I mean, a tremendous amount of just these API data scraping breaches means that a lot of people that are users of LinkedIn, their data is now out there for hackers, and they're seeing a lot more of scammers targeting them with phishing campaigns. And what you're seeing is LinkedIn likes to use these shortened URLs, short URLs, and the threat actors are disguising the links with bad stuff in there. So you want to be aware of attackers are abusing this feature. They're able to get around a lot of detection systems. So if you have security filters in your environment and you're not looking for this stuff, then these shortened LinkedIn URLs can absolutely get into your environment and get your employees. A lot of the phishing emails from LinkedIn are around things like, hey, we need your help. We need you to fill in this missing information so we can give you more accurate and reliable service. When have you heard that before, right? You'll never get an email like that. So be aware of it, and it is out there. All right, let's talk about one more thing too. This Google search stuff. A lot of people love Google as their search engine. And right now, I want to say that we talked about this a couple months ago, but it's back in the news again. That's why I'm bringing it up again. Google is the only search engine that's being targeted by threat actors with this type of manipulation. And what we're seeing is hackers are manipulating the content of the content management systems. So the CMSs, what they're doing is they're manipulating legit websites so that their results rank higher in the Google search engine. And what that means then is when you go to search for something, you might find that it's a link out to a malware, to a not legit website. What that means for you, though, is if you are searching for anything on Google and it's not really targeted for searches like news or weather, okay, because those ones are really hard to rise to the top in the Google search engine. What they're really doing is the hackers are going after obscure searches. So if you're looking for things like digital messaging, or, hey, I want to sell my house. That is where the threat actor is really targeting. So be aware of that stuff. We've included the links to these more information if you want to learn more context about what's going on with these manipulation of the Google searches. You can absolutely check that out through the link. So cool stuff. Now, we got to talk about the vulnerabilities. It is like a freight train. I'm talking an express freight train of just Patch Tuesday from Microsoft and Adobe and all these other vendors out there. 71 vulnerabilities came out, patches available on this past Tuesday for Microsoft products. It covers the whole gamut of Microsoft's product line, from Windows operating system patches to the Edge browser patches to Microsoft Exchange, Office, SharePoint. If you have any of those in your environment, you definitely want to get on the patch management freight train. One of those that was shared is a 0-day in the Win32K driver. Another one, actually two of them, I believe, out of the 71 are actually rated as critical. So important stuff, and it's a lot of work. It's not easy. If you're doing all these patches manually, it's not easy for a lot of our clients out there. A couple other things going on is we don't talk a lot about industrial control systems, but that's a huge thing. ICS, industrial control systems, are things like elevators, escalators, HVAC systems, a lot of vulnerabilities in there. Siemens and Schneider Electric addressed over 50 vulnerabilities this past week. So a lot of patching going on there, especially if you have any of those systems from those two vendors in your environment. Adobe, oh my gosh, Acrobat and Reader. How many times do we talk about patching Adobe Acrobat and Reader? Adobe put out 4 patches for Adobe, for Acrobat and Reader. 2 of those patches out of the 4 are critical. There's also patches available for Connect, Commerce, and Adobe Campaign. So if you have a marketing department, you want to definitely be aware of those patches. Folks, we're not done yet. There's more going on. I can't make this stuff up, especially around Google Chrome. I think it's been like every episode now that we've talked about the Google Chrome patches that need to be done. They're under active attack left and right. This is not just the 12th and 13th 0-day exploits of the year, but you got to get out there and start patching your Chrome browser. It's just nuts, all of the amount of high level of attacks that are being targeted on the Google Chrome browser. The camera systems that people have in their environment, especially these businesses, there's so many of them are these Hikvision cameras or Dahua cameras. Now, what's difficult is if you have these vulnerabilities for these Hikvision cameras, you may not even know that you have a Hikvision camera in your environment because Hikvision is OEM branded. What that means is they license their cameras to other manufacturers, other vendors, and then those vendors slap their name on it. So, for example, Hikvision cameras, if you have a camera from Night Owl or NTT or Panasonic, the lists, there's hundreds of these Hikvision cameras out there that have these vulnerabilities. And the vulnerabilities for a remote attacker, they could come in and exploit it, take control of your device. Typically what you find is the attacker then will pivot from the camera system into somewhere else in your environment. So there are patches available for Hikvision and Dahua cameras. Hikvision, by the way, is the largest CCTV camera manufacturer in the world. So there's high probability that if you have cameras in your environment, they're probably Hikvision. What's interesting is the federal government banned anyone from using Hikvision cameras. It's actually on the government blacklist. So these are Chinese-made cameras. They have a serious vulnerability. It's not just Hikvision. It's also Dahua. We'll put up on a shot here on the screen here, and what you can see is the list of all the vendors that use Hikvision or Dahua cameras. Again, be aware of it. And if you have cameras in your home that are Hikvision, you definitely want to harden them. So I know like Night Owl, you can buy them at Sam's Club or Costco, Night Owl cameras. They're all Hikvision stuff. So again, the Dahua list, here's what the Dahua list looks like. Dahua is Lorex branded cameras. So if you ever bought a Lorex camera, chances are it's a Dahua camera underneath, the hardware, the guts. They have these 2 authentication bypass vulnerabilities. And the thing about this, guys, is again, the threat actors like to pivot. So they've pivoted away from Hikvision cameras, and now they're looking at Dahua cameras, unauthenticated remote access. Definitely get out there and patch. Can't say enough good things about patching. There are ways to find out if you have a camera like this in your environment. We have included a link on our threat briefing, our email, where you can find out who makes all of these different branded cameras. So it makes your job a little bit easier. You can also scan your environment. We actually, for our clients, we do a lot of looking at the MAC addresses and trying to figure out, is it a Dahua camera or is it a Hikvision camera? So there you go on that piece. 2 more vulnerabilities we got to talk about. I know a lot of people don't like Office products, so they use OpenOffice or LibreOffice. And what's going on with those right now is there is a vulnerability that makes it possible for an attacker to try to go in there and manipulate your signatures on the documents, so that that threat actor can go in and literally spoof sign documents right underneath your nose. So there is a patch available for this that you can get rid of these spoofing flaws on OpenOffice or LibreOffice. So be aware of that if you're using that in your environment. Switching gears is gaslighting. I know you guys love Forrest when he gets on his soapbox. He's not here. We gave him the time off. I can't believe we gave him time off. So I'm going to try to do my best here to talk about this. This breach is by Cineverse. And if you've ever heard of Cineverse, they may sound familiar to you. Cineverse is like the quasi gatekeeper for all routing messages for Verizon, T-Mobile, AT&T, most of the major cell providers around the globe. Cineverse is the one that handles that. Well, they got breached. And not only is it bad, but it's really bad. I'm talking 5-year-long breach. It's just now getting to the surface. It's just now getting disclosed. It's interesting because Cineverse is trying to get I believe, an IPO, and they're trying to go public. So of course they're going to announce this and make sure that we get all of our dirty laundry out there, right? But they claim that only 235 customers had unauthorized access to databases, that 235 customers were impacted by this. But folks, I'm telling you, the number could be a lot higher. We just don't know. We also don't know who attribution is. Who's the bad guy? Who's the threat actor that's targeted Cineverse? It's anybody's guess at this point. But the reality is call records, metadata, phone numbers, locations, the contents of text messages all being exposed. This is a huge breach. Big deal. And it just doesn't seem like it's getting a lot of play in the news media. And we're glad that we can highlight it for you. What can you do about it? Well, right now, we're kind of in this wait and see period and find out if the breach is much bigger than just 235 customers. The other thing that's been going on in the news is this Pentagon official. This guy was like the top software developer for the United States government, and he quit. And I thought it was an interesting story because he said, our cybersecurity capabilities is no match for China. It's like kindergarten level. So, if you want to read more about it, we'll include the link about reading this guy and his thoughts and his, basically he said, hey, we just don't have the capabilities. We're probably 15 to 20 years out from being able to match the AI capabilities and the cybersecurity defenses that China has. So interesting stuff, something for you to go down that rabbit hole if you want to learn more. A huge study came out from Watchguard Technologies. I actually really like Watchguard's fireboxes. They did this study using their products, and what they found was that nearly all malware is arriving via HTTPS encrypted connections. And that's like one of those moments you go, yeah, no way, I don't believe it, man. Like, you don't say, right? So noticeable increases in their report. They said there's a lot of increases in fileless malware. That's something that we've talked about a lot on this program. A lot of network ransomware attacks. The key takeaway, and this is what's nice about this report, is it just reminds you that the network perimeter is so important. It's got to be protected. If you're not looking at the network perimeter, boy, you're going to be in some serious trouble. And especially if you're not examining that HTTPS traffic at the perimeter, you could potentially miss 9 out of 10 of all malware, according to this report. So, all right, you guys still with me? I hope you're all still with me. We got a little bit more to go here, right? We're going to go down the rabbit hole. Again, I really miss Forrest because it gives you that chance to just take a moment, think about what Forrest is saying and react. But I don't have that today. So a lot of data breaches in the news. And, the big one that's been hopping on the news is this Twitch thing. And a lot of people don't use Twitch. A lot of people do. I found the Twitch breach fascinating in that it was a lot of the data, the behind the scenes, the code of Twitch got released out there. So now the bad guys are online on the dark web selling Twitch's code. The threat actors released the salaries, the income of Twitch people. So anyone that uses Twitch and makes money off live streaming, that information got out there. And that's like that highly protected data that Twitch doesn't want people to know how much their streamers make. And that got released. So interesting stuff. If you are a Twitch user, definitely change your password. Definitely turn on two-factor authentication. Definitely will help you try to get over some of that hump of being caught up in this breach. A couple other breaches in the news too is Neiman Marcus. I like to call it Neiman Hackus. All right, Neiman Marcus got breached, data breach, millions of people. Boy, a lot of people love Neiman Marcus. This breach included names, contact information, payment card numbers, that PII stuff, expiration dates, no CVV numbers, thankfully. Even the virtual gift cards got exposed in this. No pins, though. Usernames, passwords, security questions. Breathe, right? Breathe. Security questions, answers associated with Neiman Marcus online accounts. Unknown today who the threat actor is. We're still waiting on that attribution as well. But if you have a Neiman Marcus account, get in there, change your login, change your password, change your security questions, and maybe join that class action lawsuit because that's coming up real quick on that one. Cox Media was in the news. We had, I want to say, Forrest and I had talked about this maybe back in August. Cox Media Group, they told all of their TV station employees, don't don't tell anybody in the news that we got breached. Well, it's finally making the news. That 4 months later, they have acknowledged it. They put out a press release and said, hey, a small percentage, right, in quotes, a small percentage of servers were encrypted by a ransomware group. However, the ransomware group, their target was HR-related files, and they were unable to copy those HR-related files. Now, Cox did notify their employees. They said, hey, names, addresses, financial information, your health insurance, your medical information, that medical diagnosis even was included, may have potentially been breached. But what was interesting about this story and the lesson learned here is the intruders are asking for a ransom and to unencrypt the affected servers. And Cox said, we're not paying. In fact, we're actually really good. We've got, we can restore from backup, so we'll be good to go. We don't need to pay the ransom. That's a good move. And that's a good lesson learned from this Cox breach. And then, we don't usually talk about schools getting breached, but I think this is an interesting one. And you don't often see, in our discussions, we don't talk a lot about governments being breached, and we don't really talk a lot about schools being popped, but this is an LA private school, an elite LA private school. It's called Harvard Westlake in Los Angeles. This is the kind of school that if you're a media mogul or you're an entertainment executive, an Oscar winner, an actor, an actress, you send your kids to this type of school, and they got breached. Now, normally it wouldn't be that big of a deal, but what I find fascinating about this school is that hackers were able to access children's counseling records and their performance records through this third-party cloud provider they use. The school uses a company called Naviance, and that is where the counseling and the psychological stuff, all those records were accessed by hackers. Now, you think about it, hackers are probably going to do double dip here, right? They attacked the school, they got access to all these school records, and now if they find out that the person's records that they were able to access belong to somebody that has a lot of money, now they're going to double dip and go after the media moguls, the executives, the actors, the actresses, their children, and they're going to say, hey, I know you have a lot of money, why don't you pay up, and I won't release this information. All right, last but not least on this subject matter, before we get into our top stories, the largest denial of service attack ever in the history of mankind. We're going to put up a little sign, this day in history. It actually happened back in August, but we're just now finding out about it. It was a Microsoft Azure customer in Europe that got hit. Over 10-minute long denial of service attack. Why this is fascinating? It's the largest, 2.4 terabytes per second. To understand that number, it's mind-blowing. I don't even know how to explain that number to you. Largest volume attack. Now, and again, the peak volume was around 2.4, 2.3. So the previous largest attack was against Amazon Web Services last year. And that was 2.3. The newest one is 2.4 terabytes per second. Huge amount of denial of service. I can't even fathom how big that is, folks. But I just want to throw that out there in case you were wondering. If you're keeping score at home, the new number is 2.4 terabytes per second. All right. Now, our top stories, and I love talking about the top stories because this time it's about that Facebook outage, and there's different media messages being sent out there, what actually happened. And for Facebook, they're having a really bad week. I mean, it wasn't just the whole, somebody going on Capitol Hill and disclosing all the dirty laundry of Facebook, but then they have this outage, and then something else happened, and I'll tell you more about that here in a minute. But the best thing you can do, if you are ever curious, like, hey, my app's not working or the service is not working, definitely start with downdetector.com. I know a lot of people just like to say, hey, I'm just going to get on Facebook and find out, but I can't log into Facebook or I can't log into this service. If you go to downdetector.com, that's the first place to start to see if there's an outage for a particular vendor or service that you use. So with regards to this outage at Facebook, I'll tell you, it was devastating. I was going to cry, man. Pokemon Go was down. Nah, I don't use Pokemon Go, but if I did, I would be upset because they were out on Monday along with Facebook, Instagram, WhatsApp, a lot of the major cell providers. All right, so you're probably wondering what happened with Facebook. And there's a lot of information out there in the news media, and depending on where you get your sources from, the best one to start with is actually Krebs on Security. He does a great job of trying to explain it. I will give you the beauty pageant answer, and I will give you the short answer and the technical answer. But what Facebook did, allegedly on Monday, this past Monday, they did a configuration change. This change caused the company to revoke a lot of their key digital records, and this caused major outages around the globe. So when they did this update, they updated their border gateway records, their border gateway protocol records. And this is the mechanism. It's kind of like a map, on the web. Where do I go? Where does information travel to? So this information was not there. And for routing internet traffic, you have to have these BGP records. So without that, you started to see really a collapse of the web. And essentially, a beauty pageant answer is, it's like you take away your map or your GPS and you're screwed. There's no way you're going to find where you need to go. As a result, Facebook.com's, their web browser goes down. A lot of errors out there for WhatsApp, Instagram, anything tied to Facebook. What makes it really challenging is not only the public-facing apps, so the services and stuff goes down, but then internally on the campus of Facebook, all their tools go down, all their communication platforms, the workplace goes offline. I read something like they were locking the door. They weren't allowing employees to leave or come in. I mean, they call that in the industry, we call it a snow day, and that's really what was kind of going down. So again, that's your beauty pageant answer, your short answer. What I found fascinating about the Facebook thing is several different domain registration firms on this past Monday, they listed the domain facebook.com for sale. So because these records kept coming back null and void, all these automated systems, they're looking for the registered domain. It's not there. It looks expired. It looks abandoned. It looks recently vacated. So for a very short time, and check out, we'll put this up on the screen right now. For a very short time, the facebook.com website was listed for sale on GoDaddy.com. I thought about buying it, but I looked in my pocketbook and I don't think I had enough money. So, but that was fascinating. You don't usually see that kind of stuff. I mean, historical happening event, in that week time frame. But a lot of these organizations that are out there, and you may have experienced this though, if you don't have a map of where you need to go on the web, billions of devices are constantly asking for the current coordinates of Facebook and WhatsApp and Instagram, and it's not there. So huge, gigantic spike in DNS traffic. I mean, insane amount of traffic going on. I heard something like a number like 40% of an increase globally in wayward DNS traffic because of this outage. So fascinating event to live through. Hope we never have to experience this again, especially for the folks at Facebook. Facebook's also in the news for something else. And this was interesting. They banned a developer, and the developer made this unfollow everything tool. And they said, you're banned for life. And the developer was like, hey, man, I made this really cool extension, this browser extension for Facebook that essentially allows you to delete your entire news feed, all right, by unfollowing all the connections all at once. Now, you can actually go in and still see your favorite friends and groups. I actually went and tried this extension out. Now, again, I'm not recommending you install this extension, okay? But I wanted to see what it was like. And it was wicked cool. I tell you, it's kind of breathtaking. When you log into Facebook and you have used this extension, nothing is there. It's like walking into an empty house, and there's no furniture in your home. There's no news feeds. But if you're a developer and you're messing with Facebook's cache train, there's going to be heck to pay. And that's exactly what's happening to this developer right now. So again, the extension, the unfollow extension is still out there. You can find it. I think it's in the Chrome store, if I'm not mistaken. But pretty fascinating stuff to be able to wipe out your entire news feed. And again, all this happened like in 1 week to Facebook. I mean, pretty tough life they got going on there. And then kind of we're going to wrap up today with the final story. And this story is the heartbreaking story. It is absolutely, you want to know why we do what we do here at SecurityMetrics. And it's like this for any cybersecurity professional. A baby died because of a cyber attack on an Alabama hospital. And the story goes that the baby was born, but because the monitoring equipment had failed because of the cyber attack, that unfortunately, tragically, the baby has died. And, when you hear stories like that, this is why we do what we do. This is why, to try to stop that kind of stuff. So this hospital is in some serious hot water, big lawsuit going to hit them. And we're going to try to follow this story, very precedent-setting story, very tragic. But at the same time, there is really excellent lessons to be learned there on how sensitive this monitoring equipment can be and how important it is to protect hospitals and medical centers. And especially, you're talking systems where people's lives are on the line. And to have something like this happen, it just breaks your heart. And again, a reminder as we wrap up today, we do have this agenda. We do have this SecurityMetrics Summit. You can check it out. You can register for free on our website. And please comment too. We'd love to hear your comments, and we'll get Forrest back with us next time. And as always, we're SecurityMetrics, and we're glad you could join us. I'm Heff, and we'll catch you next time.